Hi everyone, Love to Share is here again. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to create a round logo in Photoshop. So, without further ado, let us start. First, you're going to click the PS icon or Photoshop icon at the taskbar. So, if you create the shortcut icon on your desktop, you double click on your desktop. So in my case, I have pinned it to the taskbar. So I'm going to click PS to open Adobe Photoshop. Okay, this time I'm going to share with you how to create this logo in Photoshop, how to fit this text to path in Photoshop, and this one. Okay, this video actually is the request of one of my viewer in my channel, which is this one. When I share setting up a new document in Adobe Photoshop, his comment is this one: "Sir, kanang maghimo og logo." Okay, so request granted. This time I'm going to create a video on how to create a logo. So here at Photoshop environment, you can first, to create a logo from scratch, you click the file, you click new to create a new Photoshop document. Okay, at the new document window, you choose, for instance, you are planning to create a logo with 5 inches diameter. You can use an A4 size. So if you want to print on an A4 size paper or the international paper, you click this one, A4, and the size of an A4, you can see here, the width is 210 and 297 in height. So that is in, the unit of measurement is in millimeters. So if you want to see the conversion or the equivalent in inches, you can click this arrow to display the full down menu of the unit of measurement. Then you click inches. So that's actually equal to, in inches, that's 8.268 by 11.693. So if you want to make in short band paper, if you want to print in a short band paper, you can, in portrait, you can, short band paper is actually, you can customize here, you can type, you can set 8.5, and then the short band paper is actually, the actual height is 11. Okay, for instance, that's your setting for planning to create a logo with for instance 4.5 or 4 or 5 inches in diameter. So meaning, you can, even if you are creating a logo with 2 inches in diameter, you can, after creating the logo, you can simply resize your logo according to your desire. So here, the default actually resolution when you open Adobe Photoshop is 300 pixels per inch. So this is suited actually for print. So for web, you assign only 72 as your resolution. And if you want to create tarpaulin, you type only here 100. Okay, because the resolution actually you set here matters on the file size. So meaning, the greater resolution, the greater is the file size. Okay, so you have already set the width to 8.5, the height is 11, your resolution is 300, and RGB means red, green, and blue in mode, color mode. So your background is white. Okay, so next you click create if you have already set up your document. So, or you can set here the file name. For example, you type logo. That's your assigned name to your Photoshop document. Then click create. Okay, you have already created a canvas in Photoshop. So this white area, okay, click the zoom tool. I'm going to right click and fit on screen. Okay, this white area actually is called the canvas. Anything outside of this white working space will not be printed. Any text or images outside of this white will not be printed. Okay, this time to create your logo, you can first create a guideline for your horizontal and vertical guideline to make sure that if you want your logo to be really centered on your canvas, on your paper. So first you point your mouse pointer here. Even if that's the active tool is the zoom tool, you can move here and it will change to an arrow. So you can actually move this guideline to the center. So our canvas is 8.5. 8.5 is the width. So 8.5 divided by 2 so that you can center, that's 4.25 or 4.25 or 4.250 is the same. You can release your mouse. Okay, another way to insert a guide so that you will not be dragging off the guide, you can click the view, and here you can click the new guide here. If you, next thing we're going to insert is the horizontal guide. So I want to click the horizontal because I am done with the vertical. Horizontal guide, and I want to put it on, since our height is 11, I'm going to put it on the perfect center of 11. That's 5.5. Okay, so you have now the center, the vertical and the horizontal center of your canvas. So I want the center, the vertex of the logo to be here, pinakasentro at the intersection of the vertical and horizontal guide. Okay, so next thing you're going to do, since Photoshop is working with layers here, layers, your layer now is only the background and it is locked. So meaning you cannot move this one because this is locked, but you can unlock this one by double clicking and then click OK. So let us first create a new layer so that you can organize your graphics on the screen. You make sure that you will separate every graphics on the canvas. So first, this button, you move your mouse. This button is actually create a new layer. See, it's actually user friendly because when you point it, it will display create new layer. So you click new layer. You have already a new layer here at the top of the background. First, we're going to create a circle. Okay, to create a circle, you can actually choose this elliptical marquee tool. Here. You can choose this one, then click elliptical marquee tool, and then you point the pointer of your mouse to the center, to the intersection of your guides, the vertical and horizontal guide. Make sure you can actually center. So to zoom, the shortcut key to zoom in is to hold down the control and then press the plus sign, so that you can view, you can focus the center, the intersection of the two. So you point it on the center here. Okay, then you hold down your left mouse button. Then the next thing you're going to do is to hold down the shift and the alt simultaneously on your keyboard, and then drag anywhere. You can drag here and drag here. So since I am holding down the shift actually retains the proportion to make a perfect circle on the screen. You can see the width and the height there while dragging. So for instance, here at 4, or that's 4.303 inches, you can release. So for instance, release. So you have already a perfect circle with your vertex is the center. Okay, this time, since this tool, actually this elliptical marquee tool, creates an oval shape or a perfect circle by holding down the shift. Since this is now, you can see the marching ants. The marching ants actually, or the selection means if you're going to fill the canvas by this time with that selection, it will be filled only with the selection, the inside of the selection. Okay, so first, to fill this one, the shortcut key is to press, for example, I want to fill this one with, let us copy this logo. Okay, I want to fill this one with a light blue. So here you can select at the color box here, and then choose a color here. For example, this color, this one here, the new color will be applied. Okay, you click OK. This time the foreground color, this one is the background color, the foreground color is set to light blue. So if you want to fill this one with the foreground color, the shortcut key is to hold down the Alt and then the backspace. You hold down first the Alt, hold down, do not release, then press the backspace on your keyboard. See, it will fill the selection with your selected color at the color box. Okay, so this time you can now remove the selection. So the shortcut key is Control D. So the shortcut keys, actually I have already explained this one in my first video in starting Adobe Photoshop. So Control D to deselect, Control D, dog. Okay. It removes the selection, so the marching ants disappear. That's the selection actually. Okay, this time you have already the perfect circle on your canvas. The next thing you are going to do is you can now create the text to fat. Okay, so to create the text that will follow on the fat of a perfect circle is, first you are going to, here you're going to click again another layer. You make another layer so that you can organize easily your layers. Here, your active layer, you can see it's light gray, meaning anything you're going to put on the canvas will be saved on this layer. So on the top layer, we can actually rearrange rearrange this layer. We can move it down, we can move it up depending on our design. So here now, for instance, this is, I'm going to rename this layer. So to rename a layer, you double click on the name of the layer, you position your mouse, you double click, you're clicking simultaneously. You can type here, for instance, should be the name of the layer should be related to the graphics on the canvas. So I want to text to fat. Okay, here I have already a text to fat, so meaning I'm going to type text here that will follow on the perfect circle fat. Okay, so next, at the toolbar you can see here when you right click this tool, this shape tool, you can actually select here shapes. So I want you to create the text on a path. You click the ellipse tool here. After clicking the ellipse tool, you make sure that the active tool now is ellipse tool. You make sure at the options bar of the ellipse tool, since ellipse tool is the active, you can select here. You make sure, because the default actually when you open this is shape, so you make sure you choose the fat. Okay, so this time you are now set the ellipse tool to fat. So you point again to the center of your circle. You can press Ctrl plus to focus on your design, so that you can view, actually you can focus your design here. Point at the center here. If you have already pointed to the intersection of these vertical and horizontal guides, again you hold down the shift and the alt. The purpose of the shift is to retain the proportion, or to make a perfect circle. The purpose of holding down the alt is to make a circle with the vertex is the center. So here, while moving the mouse, you can see it centers actually on on your circle. Okay, for example, you want to type text outside or here. Release your mouse and then release your shift and alt button. So if this will appear, you just simply click the two arrow here. Okay, this time you can now type the text. So you point your mouse on the text tool here, T. You click the T once, then you move your mouse pointer to the path, to the edges of the path of the circle we have created. The active, you make sure that the active layer is text to fat, like this. It's light gray. So see, when I point the mouse pointer here on the path, it changes the mouse pointer to an I-beam with a curve. See, this one is an I-beam, meaning when you type text, it will only type text horizontally from left to right. When I move on the path, when the mouse pointer hits on the path, the mouse pointer changes to a curve here. That is now an indicator that you can now click the mouse and then you can now type the text to path. So here, you make sure there is a curve when you click once, and then now you have already your bar pointer indicator that you can now type text. For instance, your active font now is impact. Okay, that's impact is okay for me. That's font. You can actually change fonts here if you like. So here, and the color, the active color of the text is blue here at the options bar. This is the options bar for the text. So I want a black text, so I am going to click this one, and I want to choose a color here. So I'm going to click at the corner so that I can choose the 100% black here. So from the current to the new one. So meaning if I'm going to click OK, this color will be active. Okay. Now I can see that the bar pointer, I can reduce the size of the font. So for instance, I'm going to change this one to 48. I can change this one to 36. Okay, for instance, 36 is your font. So you can now type text by typing on your keyboard here. So for instance, I want to type my name, or you want to type the company name, the school, or the business for instance. See, it follows the font of the text. So meaning you can create paths which that's in different shapes, then the text will follow on your font. Okay, so for instance, I want to change the font because I want to balance the text from the beginning of the text to the end. So I can highlight this one, point your mouse pointer here at the beginning. You can see an I-beam or the cursor, the blinking hyphen or blinking bar in your computer's monitor. You can hold down your mouse, you can see the I-beam here. You can highlight the text, and then you can change the font size here, 148. So for instance, you are satisfied with that size, or I want to change this one to, okay, that's 48. Okay. Okay, for instance, the text is not actually balanced from left to right. So if you want to move, the text, you just simply accept now, or click first outside, or click the move tool to accept here. Okay, so if you want to balance, you choose this tool, right click this tool, and then you choose the fat selection tool. Click this one once, and then you see when I move the mouse pointer, there is a left arrow and it changes to right arrow. So meaning to right arrow means you can drag the text that you can move inside the circle. So another one is you can move outside of the circle. So there are two options in text to fat. You can move it inside, you can move it outside of your fat. Okay, this time I'm going to move this circle, to point this circle, this small circle, so that I can balance. I can drag this one down so that I can balance the text. Edit, step back, undo, point on the text, then drag. Edit, step back. You can move the text. You can move inside. Dragging inside, it will move the text inside, then outside, then move down. Drag down. You make sure that you can move down this circle, because this is actually the end of your text. So if the text will overlap the circle, it will disappear. So this time, go back to your text and then drag down again to move. The advantage of, if you have already created one, then the next time you're going to create, you have already your template. So this time, okay, I think this is already balanced. You can click the move tool, clicking the move tool, and then I'm going to move so that I can move the guide, the horizontal guide here, or I'm going to create another guide because this is our guide for the center. So the horizontal guide here, point at the roller, then I want to put a horizontal guide here. Okay, so marag ko yung pagamay. So go back to this one, this path tool, then again you move it down. Okay, I think I have set the snap to guide, so I'm going to turn it off here, the snap, so that it will not snap on the guide, so that I can level. Edit, step back. Okay, so next, you just simply copy this text to fat, and then move the text, whatever text you want, at the bottom of this circle. So to duplicate this text to path, you just simply select this text by clicking here, and then you press to duplicate layer is Ctrl J, jar. Okay, so you have already a duplicate layer. See, nothing happens on the canvas because this actually two layers overlaps. Okay, this time when I'm going to move this text down, okay, I'm going to choose this fat selection again, and I'm going to point on the text. See, the active layer now is text to path copy. Okay, so I can point anywhere on the text and then hold down your left mouse button and then drag the text inside the circle. See, inside the circle, then you can now type text, whatever text at the bottom. So you just simply double click this one, or you can double click this T to edit. Another way to edit without going here and then clicking the text tool. You double click this one, okay, and then you can type for example, okay, for example, that's your text at the bottom, or Surigao City, or any text you want. You can again, to move, going back to the fat tool, and then you can drag this one to move. Drag to move here. So if you want to see that the text is level, you can drag again, get another guideline here. You can move here. So if you want to change the spacing of the text, you can actually double click to change the spacing of the text. I want the interval of the text, to increase the interval of the text. the spacing between the every letter. So double click Sartec. Okay, then you can go with this button here, character. Select the character. You can change the spacing actually by clicking this button, this horizontal spacing here. So the active now is 0. So I want to increase, I want to make it 100. See, it changes the spacing of my text without pressing. Another way to do that manually is to press the space bar in every text. So click, so I want to increase to 200. Okay, so now it increases the interval between of my letter. Or you can, for example, I want to, the maximum there is 200. So for instance, I want to make it 250. You can actually type, then pressing the enter key. After typing, make sure to press the enter key. So click this 2 arrow to dock this panel, this character panel. Then now to accept, going back to the move tool, move, so that it will accept. And this time to move so that you can balance the first letter and the last letter. Going back again to path selection tool, and then point again to the text. Here you make sure when you point, the mouse pointer is an I-beam with an arrow so that you can move here. Okay, so the reason why it disappear because I move the here I move the mouse pointer outside the circle. Okay, so this time if you want to level or to make this text outside of the circle, you can simply click this text, and then since this is in a path, you can press Ctrl T, letter T. Okay, that's Ctrl T is to transform, meaning you can rotate, you can transform to resize, reduce the size or enlarge the size. Okay, so this time to transform, to make a proportion again, you hold down the shift while resizing dragging the fill handle at the corner, anywhere at the corner. I'm holding down the alt and the shift and the alt. Okay, then drag to increase the size of the font, and the text will move actually. Okay, so for example, this one, release your mouse, then release your shift and alt, then click the move tool, and then apply. See, it will move actually the Sartec word down because it follows its font. So next, to level again, because it, so that you can adjust to level the first text, the first letter and the last letter. Again, drag to level, make sure. Okay, so click the move tool, then point out at your guideline here. Okay, that's your guide. Going back to the text, click again this one, move, slowly move. Okay, so for instance, that's already leveled with this first and last text. So this guideline, actually, I am going to click this move tool so that you can not be confused, because you have already two guides here, but the actual interval or the vertex is this one. Okay, next you can now for example, this, you want to make a space, a small space, you can adjust the circle. You can click the circle layer, you can press Ctrl T, Control T actually, transform. So holding down the shift and the alt to resize and retain its proportion, and meaning the x and y axis actually will not move, so it will stay at your vertex. So see, you can put space, a little bit of space, then release, and then click move tool and then apply. Okay, so you can move slowly up the circle or this chart text. Click and then you can press actually the arrow key to move down to balance the spacing above your text. Okay, next you can duplicate this circle, Control J to duplicate a layer. The active layer now is the layer 1. Control J. So you have already two layers. So next you can select this layer at the bottom. You press Control T again, Control T to transform, meaning I'm going to resize, Control T, and then again holding down the shift and the alt, drag to resize so that you can cover your design with the circle. Okay, for example, that's okay. You release your mouse, release your shift and the alt key, then press enter to accept. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in to view the whole design. Zoom out actually is Control minus. Control plus is zoom in. Okay, so you have already created this one. So this time, if you want to make another circle here at the center, you just simply copy and paste the circles here. So for instance, I want to make a circle inside here and has different color. So let us click here. For example, that's flag, for example, blue. Control J to duplicate again the circle here. So to change the color of the circle, you can press you can hold down the control and then click this design. This is not the name of the layer, this one. Click this one, this icon, click to select. You can see there are marching ants here, so that means the selection is here inside. So meaning, so if you want to change color here, since the selection is here, you can click at the color box here and then choose, for example, you want blue color inside, so this blue, and then you click OK. So you have already set the color on the color box. The shortcut key to fill the selection with the foreground color, that means here the foreground is blue, you press the alt and then backspace, alt and backspace to fill that one with that color. This time, to remove the selection, that's Control D. So if you cannot memorize how to deselect, just click here, another way. Select, and then deselect. You can see Control D to deselect. Okay, so deselect, meaning mawaya ang marching ants. Okay, next, you have already a circle. This time, for example, if you want to put a design here, anything you want, so you can download graphics on Google Images, or you can use shapes here. For example, right click on the shape tool, and then I want to customize, or to click the custom shape tool. For example, you want this design here, you choose here these are the options bar for the shape, because the active tool is shape. So for example, you want a heart design, you click the heart design. So if you want to, while dragging the heart here, it will only create the fat, because the active here is fat. So if you want, it will fill automatically with the color, you choose the shape now. Shape, and then for example, I want a red heart, so you click this one, you choose red here, click here. Okay, you click OK, and then you can hold down the shift while dragging to retain the proportion of the heart. Dili mo niwang, di mo tambok. Okay, so laong. Okay, you have already the heart. Here, you can click. So you can move by pressing the arrow left, arrow right here. For example, I want to copy this heart to the other side. So to copy is Control J, jar. You have already two heart shape. You can rename this one, for example, is heart. Enter. So you can move this one to the right. You can hold down the shift to align directly. Hold down the shift, it will align actually, see, straight. Oh. So next, if you want to put another heart, if you want to add another hearts here, you can actually copy that these two directly, dungan. You can hold down the shift, then pick that, meaning you are selecting the two hearts. So this time you can press Control J. See, duha nakabuk dungan, and then you can hold down the control and then drag so that you can move the two hearts directly. So here, so you can press again Control J to duplicate layer. So I want 3 hearts. I can hold down the control and then edit, step back. Hold down the control and then move, step back. Okay, move the heart, holding down the shift to align. This one, move down. Other one here. Okay, so that's how to create a logo in Photoshop. So for example, if you want to make colors, if you want to change colors here, you can actually change. If you want blend of colors, if you want picture that will fit on a circle, you can do it in Photoshop. So for instance, we will add a picture here, or put a picture. So we're going to click Explorer and we're going to browse a picture. For example, this one. Drag, point to PS, do not release your mouse. Then here at Photoshop, release. Okay, so you can now resize the picture. Shift, hold down the shift to retain the proportion. You can hold down the alt so that you can center your picture. For example, I want to fit it on a circle here. Okay, release your shift and alt. You can move down, and you can hold down the shift to maintain at the center, the picture at the center. Okay, then you can press enter to accept. Okay, so this time, this is when you drag pictures in Photoshop, this will actually a smart object thumbnail. So that you can edit, you right click on the name of the layer here. You right click, then you can rasterize layer so that it will remove the smart object thumbnail here. Okay, now you can now edit the picture. So for example, I want to remove of the picture. Okay, so in Adobe Photoshop CC or Adobe Photoshop CS6, you can actually remove by simply clicking the select and then subject. Select subject. Okay, Photoshop automatically selects the subject. So when you control plus to zoom in, you can see here it's not perfectly selected the picture. So to repair this one so that it will not cut at the portion here of your shoulder, so you can click this tool. You can click the quick selection tool, and then you can click this at the options bar. You can click the plus, meaning you will add selection. So mouse pointer, this time you can now brush your add the selection here. So holding down the mouse and then brush here to repair the selection. Okay, so for example, you are satisfied with the selection here. Look at the selection. Okay, you can now control minus to zoom out. Okay, so here you can add here sa selection. Okay, add a selection. Dari pa to make a good selection of the subject. Now if you press delete, this time the subject will be deleted. So you need to inverse the selection. So you click, if you press delete on the keyboard, see the subject is deleted. So, and you do not want that action. So you click the edit and then you want to step back. So if you want to delete the inverse of the selection, you just simply select, click the select, and then click the inverse. Okay, so this time, since the selection is inverse, when you press delete on the keyboard, delete, the outside of the selection will be deleted. So now you can press Ctrl D to deselect, or another way is to select and then deselect to remove the selection. See? Okay, so this time you can now here, you can now create a selection so that you can craft the picture and make fit with the circle, you can now select this blue circle inside this one. You hold down the control and then click this blue, select this layer, and then you click control. You hold down the control and then click this shape. So after selecting that one, since I want to delete the outside of this picture here so that the picture fits on a circle, so I'm going to inverse this one. So the selection is a circle, so but I want to remove the outside of the picture, so I'm going to click the picture layer here. When I press delete on the keyboard, it will actually delete the inside of the circle. So the same, what you're going to do is to edit, then step back. So I want to delete the outside, so I want to select, and then I want to select inverse. Then this time when I press delete on the keyboard, it will delete the outside of the selection. See, it fits, the picture fits on a circle. So now you can press Ctrl D to deselect. Okay, this time you can now add an outline of the logo. So for example, you want to customize now your logo. So I want to put a stroke outside of this circle. So you click this one, for example, the outside of the circle. Then you simply right click here at the name of the layer, not here. You can click blending options. For example, I want to put a stroke. This is the layer styles window. You can actually use all these layer styles, or explore or experiment with this layer style. So for example, I want to put a stroke color, and I want the color to be for example I want a blue color here. You click OK. So the stroke is actually, the size of the stroke is 63, so you can reduce this one to lesser the thickness of the stroke. So for example, I want only 8, and I want the color to be black. I want to change this one to black here, and then click OK. Okay, so you have already a black line outside of the circle. That's how to insert stroke on a circle. Okay, so text, or you want to change the color of this blue and you want a gradient color, you can do that in Photoshop. So the same step, you can hold down the control and then click this blue, and you can use this gradient tool here, gradient. So for example, you can actually customize gradient here. You can make your own color combinations. So for example, I want only to use these colors here, so I want to click this yellow and orange gradient, double click. So you just simply, since you have a selection, even you drag here from top to bottom holding down the mouse here, you can feel only the inside of the circle. It will not go out, the color will not go outside, because you have already a color, I mean the selection, the marching ants in the circle. So then you can put pictures there. You can press Ctrl D to deselect. Deselect. Okay. So that's how to create a logo in Photoshop. So I think that's all I have to you today. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching.